Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. Today we're taking literally everything you picked up in our previous explainer on advanced scripting foundations, and we're actually going to start building the architecture for your capstone project. We are treating this multi-token platform not just as some abstract lines of code, but as a tangible, physical machine that we are going to build together using a really beautiful, clear blueprint.
Here's a quick look at the schematic index for our build today. 1. The master blueprint. 2. Meet the core modules. 3. The token lifecycle. 4. Inspecting the minting code. And finally, 5. Blueprint validation and testing. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. The Master Blueprint.
Okay, so before we actually build anything, we absolutely have to establish our invariants. Now, you can think of invariants as the fundamental laws of gravity for our smart contracts. If they break, the whole machine literally falls apart. And, unlike real gravity, if smart contract gravity breaks, well, millions of dollars tend to just float away. So for example, your tracked total token supply must always equal the exact sum of everyone's individual balances. You simply can't have tokens materializing out of thin air. It's basically physics, just, for code.
Section 2, meet the core modules. Let's lay out our 5 core components here. You can kind of think of minting as our assembly line, right? That's where the tokens are born. Burning, that's the incinerator, where they go to be destroyed. Transfer is the conveyor belt moving them all around. Metadata is our labeling department, sticking descriptions on everything. And access control, well, that's our heavily guarded security vault, making sure only the absolute right people can press the buttons. By separating our contract into these distinct modules, we ensure single, clear responsibilities, which honestly makes auditing the whole thing a total breeze.
Now, as you design these modules, you're going to face a really critical choice for your scarcity guarantees. You have authoritative supply versus derived supply. I highly recommend going the authoritative route. It acts as a single on-chain source of truth. And trust me on this one, it is so much simpler to audit than forcing some off-chain indexer to constantly do complex math just to derive everyone's balances.
Moving right along to Section 3, the token lifecycle. So if we were to trace a digital widget, say a collectible pack, through our patented machine here, it follows this exact chronological path. First, it starts at the assembly line, where it gets minted. Then, it travels down the conveyor belt to the marketplace escrow to be listed. Once a buyer purchases it, the conveyor belt fires right back up to transfer it safely into their wallet. And eventually, when they want to redeem it for a real-world physical item, that digital pack gets tossed straight into the incinerator, fully redeemed and burned.
Now, the really crucial point during that transfer phase is the receiver hook. When our conveyor belt executes the safeTransfer command, it actually calls ahead to the destination to trigger the received hook. It's basically like the conveyor belt picking up a phone and asking the destination, hey, are you able to safely hold this token? And this is a lifesaver, because it prevents tokens from just falling off the belt into the digital abyss if a receiving contract isn't prepared to handle them.
Section 4. Inspecting the minting code.
So this specific piece of Solidity logic acts as the bouncer for our assembly line. It simply says if the person sending the message doesn't have the minter role, they get hit with a not minter rejection. They are not getting in. And it's crazy, but developers sometimes forget this one single line and accidentally leave the vault door wide open, which allows literally anyone on the internet to start minting tokens. Integrating access control here is what keeps the factory perfectly secure.
Also, notice how we meticulously update our authoritative total supply ledger right before we stamp the new tokens. We add the amount to the supply first, and then immediately execute the internal mint question. This ordering is highly deliberate. It settles the accounting before the tokens actually exist in a wallet, which keeps our invariants totally intact. In our advanced programs at Forge College, we always emphasize that it's exactly these kinds of micro-optimizations that separate a merely good smart contract from a truly impenetrable one.
Section 5. Blueprint validation and testing.
Okay, here is your absolute final validation checklist to prepare your capstone repository. First, you need to list out every single public function and define exactly what roles can access them. Second, you must document those unbreakable invariants we talked about. And finally, testing is twofold. You've got to write unit tests at the module boundaries to make sure your bouncers are actually doing their jobs, and you have to simulate lifecycle integration tests. That's going to ensure your assembly line, conveyor belt, and labeling department are all communicating perfectly and not, just gossiping the wrong token URIs to each other.
So take this checklist, harden up your modules, and ask yourself one final critical question. Is your blueprint truly audit ready for a final security review?
Because in Web3, there are absolutely no do-overs once that machine is turned on. To master the final steps of this journey, or just to dive deeper into these concepts, be sure to visit forge.college to learn more about this subject and other incredible Web3 topics. Thanks so much for building with me today.